Well, welcome back. This is a amplification by Fender called the Mustang 3 amplifier. I'm not going to show it to you, but I'm going to play this song and you'll probably remember the technique. I just set this baby up. I lowered the strings a little bit. It's a Fender, it's a Squier, but it's a Strat Squier. It's a little less expensive than a Stratocaster, and I like it better because it's lighter. It's lighter on the wallet too. It's lighter in the body. I don't like heavy guitars. I like Gibson, but I don't prefer the Les Paul. It's all like, really heavy. I like these light guitars. There it is. Look at that. See, it's a Fender Squier Strat. And they're not that expensive. At least they weren't back in the day. I mean, I owned a music store, and I had a lot of instruments, and some of these are here, and my partner Bob took some of them, and I took some of them, and we kind of ended the musical instrument phase of our career. And anyway, this was when people used to put bands together, and they'd buy instruments and amplifiers and signal processors, things like that. And now they don't really play instruments anymore. They just sort of fake it with electronic stuff. It writes the songs for them. Thought you'd like seeing that. I'm an actual musician. I used to teach guitar. In fact, that's how I met my wife, Phyllis, 50 years ago. Wow. She walked in and I went, huh? And I was 17 years old, and I was a year away from joining the Air Force, and she was 16. And I went, huh? I had been going to like this Catholic school where all I saw were dudes all day. The teachers were dudes, the students were dudes, and then here's this girl walking in. I went, huh, what's that? It's like a different creature. And I took to her right away. I was very appropriate. I didn't marry her until after I got out of the Air Force 5 years later. So what are we doing today? What would you like to know? Oh, I think I have an idea. If you all haven't come up with something already. I was thinking about looking into this topic that it's kind of unexpected, but it came upon me this morning. This time of the year, it's the 7th month of the Hebrew calendar, and we have these unfulfilled festivals called Yom Teruah, the Day of the Shout. That's the last trumpet that Paul talks about. And we have, 10 days later, we have this horrific event that he refers to called the Day of Yahuwah. All through the scriptures, you'll see this popping up. It's even in the first chapter of Revelation, the Day of Yahuwah. It's not Sunday that it's talking about. This Revelation, the book of Revelation, Yehukanan is seeing Yahusha himself, and he's calling himself Al Shaddai, and he's got this huge voice, like it's amplified, and it's like the voice of many waters, and it's just crashing, this huge booming voice, and he turns and sees this person, and he's glowing like the sun. His face is like the sun, and his hair is like wool, and it's Yahusha. He recognizes him. He tells us who he is, and he's telling us about this event when he was on Patmos, and it was about the Day of Yahuwah. They call it the Day of the Lord because they translated his name out of the scriptures. Read your preface. They took his name out of the scriptures. Anyway, Yahusha is going to manifest or show him what the end times are like. and the events leading up to it. The day of Yahuwah, the great winepress of the wrath of Yahuwah, is poured out on a certain day. Hide yourselves is the name of this video. A day is set when Yahuwah will punish the disobedient inhabitants of the earth. They're not living by his commandments. Paul described it to the 400 nobles of the Areopagus in Athens in Greece at Acts 17. If you read this, Acts 17 will show it to you. The 7th month of each year, of the Hebrew year, depicts unfulfilled events in Yahushua's redemption plan. What? A redemption plan? What in the world is that? Well, that's the shadows of things to come. There's 7 of them. Passover starts them off in the springtime, in the beginning of the summer, actually. Well, the resurrection of the dead, Paul talks about them being that they'll come before those who are yet alive. What is that about? Well, on the first day of the 7th month, we're to rehearse this and by observing the day with the blowing of shofars. The shofar sound is really the voice of Yahuwah himself in that day. And he's going to resurrect the dead. They won't be dead. You don't want to have a bunch of dead people walking around. That's Halloween stuff. That's not right. The resurrection of the dead who are sealed in their minds with Yahushua's name. And they died while being obedient to his commandments. What commandments? Well, the eternal covenant he gave to Moses at Horeb or Sinai. And you'll read about this at Malachi chapter 4, 6 little verses. Malachi 4. And the commandments are to be obeyed or he'll burn this earth up. Well, there's a remnant of obedient people, and they're dead in the past, and those that are yet alive are obeying too. They know his name, and they obey his commandments. This is the 2 things that are different from most people at Revelation 12, verse 17. Those who are guarding the commandments of Yahuwah and holding to the testimony of the name of Yahusha are enraging the dragon. Now, Christians are not upsetting anybody, or they're not upsetting the dragon, because they're not obeying the commandments. But you better get that tithe in there. Well, they teach people, come on with that tithe, get it in there. But don't obey any commandments. Oh? Well, and who's this J-E-S-U-S, the J-man? Huh? That thing's less than 500 years old. His name in Hebrew is Yahusha. He doesn't have any name in any other language. It's Yahusha in every language, as yours would be. Now, the resurrection of the dead occur on the first day of the 7th month. The resurrection of the dead. And that's something that we rehearse every year. And the real one will come. And the heavens and the earth are going to shake because of the shout of Yahuwah awakening the dead. You want to talk about something that'll awaken the dead. That's the day. The first day, it's called Yom Teruah, the day of the shout. Yahuwah will shout, shaking the heavens and the earth. The dead who have his seal as his property will be raised on this day. That whistle was somebody that loves me. For 10 days, these raised from the dead glowing people will be roaming the earth in their newly received immortal bodies. And what do you think that's going to do to people on the earth? They're going to be going, what is this? What are these things walking around with the light? That's bizarre. And they're going to be telling them something. They'll be able to hear them and understand them. Because we who are yet alive, if we are those people, the last Natsarim, will be helping them do this. will be messengers for the restoration work to restore these lost people during those 10 days to favor with Yahuwah. Listen to the covenant, obey it, call in his name, be immersed, and then they'll be among us, the living, who are obedient to the commandments. The dead who have been raised, who have his seal, will be raised on the first day of the 7th month. I'm making this very clear for you so you can understand it. For 10 days they will roam the earth in their newly received immortal bodies. Next comes on the 10th day, when the reapers are released to harvest the earth. The first thing that has to happen is the disobedient have to be burned. That's the weeds are taken out from the midst of the wheat, just like Yahushua explained it in the parable. The first to go are the weeds. They're burned. 2 will be sleeping in bed on the dark side of the earth, and 1 will be taken, the other left. The one that's taken is burned. And on the other side of the earth, during the daytime, 2 will be working in the field. 1 will be taken, and the other left. The one that's taken is burned, and there'll be ashes. Now, those who are yet left will be changed in the twinkling of an eye. And this is on the 10th day of the 7th month. Those sealed in Yahushua's name will be changed in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye. And the devastation, the overturning of the surface of the earth will be occurring all around us. This is to prepare you for it. It's coming very soon. Yahuwah calls this day of release. It's the 10th day of the 7th month, and property is restored to its owner. And the owner, of course, is Yahuwah. The harvest of the earth will ensue. Reapers will gather the disobedient first and cast them into the winepress of the wrath of Yahuwah. If we who are alive and sealed with his name as his property, there are many texts that prove this. You're sealed because you know his name. You have Malachi chapter 3. Near the end of the chapter, you see a book of remembrance is written where he hears those who are talking about his name and meditating on his name. And he hears them. And he says, these are going to be mine. And he wrote a special scroll with their names in it. Now, here's one of the many texts that will prepare us for that day of wrath. Yashayahu, they call Isaiah, 26, verses 19 through 21. Let your dead live, together with my dead body. Let them arise, awake, and sing, you who dwell in the dust. For your dew is a dew of light. For your dew is a dew of light. They'll be glowing, just like it describes us in Daniel chapter 12. And let the arets, that's the earth, give birth to the departed spirits. First day of the 7th month. Go, my people. After this, we'll be who are yet alive. He's telling us, go, my people, enter your rooms and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourself, as it were, for a little while, until the displeasure is past. For look, Yahuwah is coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their lawlessness, and the arets shall disclose her blood and no longer cover her slain. Read Joel, or you all, chapter 2 and chapter 3, and prepare yourself for one of these years that's coming. It could happen any time. in a year. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the garden at the marriage feast. Bye.